decided that we design the solution that suits us. And that solution is that everything we do, since they make our country and our land very uncomfortable for us, we will bring our freedom from diaspora. And that's what we're doing today. So the enabling environment that was not created for us in Biafra land, the different countries where we reside have created an environment, and we are struggling to bring this kind of system back to our people for them to live like human beings. So we will always outsmart the terrorist state of Nigeria.
Only one, under his leadership, His Excellency Simon Ekpa. Anybody that is confusing anyone or telling you there is another, no, there is nothing. There's just one, recognized by His Excellency Simon Ekpa. And we can pray. Once he has that communication, Biafrans, we understand that Obato Obie does not take no crap from nobody. No matter who you are, you must respect that authority. That authority is the only thing that can protect all of us. But we thank God, somebody said this is a transition period. If these things does not happen, Biafrans will not know who is following our prime minister, who wants him to fail, who wants him to be out. So this moment is ordained to happen so that Biafrans will know who is who.
Welcome, fellow Biafrans, lovers of freedom across the world. I welcome you to this amazing program. Thank you so much for joining us once again on this platform. I appreciate you wherever you are connecting from. Please like and share this program. And remember, this platform where you are watching this program is Biafra Exodus Hard Talk TV, a platform that stands with the United States of Biafra, under the command of our Prime Minister Mazi Simon Ekpa, and on the Supreme Command of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Today, under the control of Deputy Prime Minister COS Dr. Ngozi Orabueze, we bring information from the right source, the United States of Biafra, the government of our Prime Minister Mazi Simon Ekpa. Wherever you are watching this program from, I urge you in the name of Chukwu Okike Abiama to like and share. Information is power. Remember, our Prime Minister encouraged us to engage in radical evangelism. Our Supreme Mazi Nnamdi Kanu told us to carry everybody along. In doing that, you must help us to share this video. Like and share to family and friends and to every platform where you belong. This information is important.
While in his custody since 2021. During a court session on Wednesday, a DSS operative, PWBBB, testified that solitary confinement is not a practice of the DSS. This came after Kanu's legal team, led by Chief Kanu Agabi, raised concerns about his prolonged detention and conditions. Agabi further questioned the legality of Kanu's detention, calling it cruel and inhuman treatment, and also raised issues regarding the charges against Kanu and the credibility of evidence presented by the prosecution, including video footage of Kanu's interrogation. The court admitted medical and police reports related to the death of former presidential aide Ahmed Gulak, allegedly linked to Kanu's orders during a broadcast. The case was adjourned to May 21, 2025, after further delays over documents requested by the defense. Joining us in the studio today to help make sense of today's topic is Mr. Dele Fanibo, a seasoned journalist and a social and political critic.
A reporter.
Oh, a reporter still, a journalist. Then from our Abuja studios, we have Barrister Sam Kago, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria, standing by. I have Barrister Arochukwu Ogbonna. He's a political analyst, human rights lawyer, and head of Department of Human Rights and Political Education of Social Development Center. Good morning, gentlemen.
My pleasure. Good morning.
Good to have you join today's conversation. Good morning, Barrister Arochukwu Ogbonna. If you can hear me, we would like you to unmute your device for us to establish communication with you this morning. All right, Mr. Dele Fanibo, good to have you once again. And we're looking at the trials of Nnamdi Kanu. I guess it was yesterday where we learned that you know, the certificate of the death certificate of Gulak was also admitted in the court by Motor Show. And not just that, What can you just help us at this point in time, make it very easy and known to the public listening to us what solitary confinement is all about? Because now DSS is saying we do not keep Nnamdi Kanu in solitary confinement. We don't practice search, but we have his legal team also raising that as a concern and also emotion in the court.
Well, I've never been kept in one before, but I have an idea of what solitary confinement is.
Okay.
You see, those who are held in detention and are considered to be dangerous to other inmates are usually kept in a room solely for that suspect, so that there won't be any interaction with other suspects that are kept in common room, so that they won't, we have had cases in the past that have been reported that some hardened criminals will kill their fellow suspects in custody. And so once they notice that you are likely to be too dangerous to be kept among other suspects, so they take you out and keep you in a cell where you are going to be alone. And they also make sure that all precautions are kept to ensure that you don't even harm yourself. In some cases, they don't even allow objects around you.
Okay, now your analysis makes it seem like it's for the benefit of the man himself. But we also know that being in solitary confinement sometimes could be staying within a very, small space, dark, which can mess up the psychology of the individual. That's also part of being in solitary confinement.
You see, one other thing that you also have to know is that keeping somebody in a cell alone is psychological trauma. Because as we are seated here now, we can sit here, talk, discuss for the next 10 hours. We will not get exhausted. The only thing that we will remember is we have not eaten. But the moment somebody steps into this place and says, you are under arrest, your adrenaline will shut up. I will shoot off, and you begin to imagine, if I could break this wall, I could escape through this place. Imagination starts running riot. Okay. That is the conventional cell. Now imagine when you are kept in a solitary confinement, where you don't have anybody to converse with, where you don't have anybody to even look at, where you don't have anybody you can even feel. You are all by yourself, alone, and not just for one day, for a long period.
Now DSS is denying this, but we also have learned also from Kanu's counsel that multiple times they've gone to visit him in the cell or where he was being kept in detention, and they are not being allowed access to him. Now, what justification do they have to come up to say, no, we don't practice search in Nigeria and all that, given the fact that they've restricted people from seeing him?
It's the DSS words against the suspect in this case. Now, it's no longer a suspect, it's now an accused person because the case is in court. Now, the fact that they didn't allow his counsel to see him in the cell, there's no way they would open the cell for the counsel to see him. They would rather bring him out from his cell and probably get an office that is conducive enough for him to have conversation with his lawyers. So we cannot sit here and say for sure that they kept him in solitary confinement or not. But Kanu has not even said that. It is still the counsel that is saying it. But the thing is, I know that it is a practice. If you go to even some of our prison facilities, which they call correctional center now, they also have such places where they keep people, where they know that they are likely to be a threat to other suspects in the common cell.
Now, I want to come on the path of the death certificate that was presented in court. Interestingly, the court has admitted Goodluck's death certificate right now as an evidence against Nnamdi Kanu. My question now would be, what do you think this would mean to the integrity of the legal process of this particular case? And of course, do you think that it's going to set a very dangerous precedent for a court of that jurisdiction to admit a death certificate of someone who has died into a case that has been ongoing for the longest of time?
You see, I'm not a lawyer, and at the risk of violating court rules, which presupposes that whatever we say also out of a court in an ongoing trial is sub judice.
Yeah.
But I want to say that we have had such cases in the past. Saro-Wiwa was not present when they killed some Ogoni leaders. But because Saro-Wiwa was alleged to have instigated that attack, it was one of the evidences used against him in court during his trial. So, as flimsy as it looks, it is the responsibility of the lawyers of Nnamdi Kanu to ensure that that evidence is shut down. It's not just, it's a potent evidence in court. I've seen precedents like that.
All right, now let's x-ray this. When this happened in 2021, it happened on May 30th, which is Biafra Heroes Day. And I'm sure you remember, you know, the things that happened, because Goodluck was said to be going to the airport after an official assignment, and then the driver took, you know, the wrong turn, took a wrong route. Now he was going without an escort. I mean, just to put this out there for the benefit of of the viewers, he took a wrong turn, and then he was waylaid and killed. Now, IPOB at the time, Imam Powerful, on behalf of IPOB, denied any involvement in all of this. The security architecture blamed this on unknown gunmen. And we also know that a few killings also happened in 2021 involving these unknown gunmen. One of them would be the death of Chike Akoyili. I think that's his name. Dora Akoyili's husband, yeah, who was shot, you know, point blank. Even though they said it was a mistaken identity for that one. But there were lots of, you know, attacks like of such in the southeast at that time. Now, what is the implication of pointing this or putting this on the feet of Nnamdi Kanu? What is the implication of this for his trial?
You see, like I said earlier, that a trial of this nature is a delicate one, I must confess to you. And the law does not recognize sentiments. Sentiments can be in the public domain, but in the courtroom, it's hard evidence that will be used to determine the outcome of a case. You see, most of these issues, it is the responsibility of the state to present evidence. And it's also the responsibility of the legal team of
now in as much as
accused to ensure that those evidence put up against their client does not avail conviction. And so it's still a legal battle, and there's little somebody like me that I'm not learned.
Oh no. We are not looking at it from the legal perspective, and of course we will not want to.
There's no way we will not look at it from legal perspective.
Go against.
Because the issue here is that somebody's life is at stake.
Indeed.
You know, and I've always had this emotional sentiments to Kanu, because I look at it beyond the trial. I look at it from the prism of the fact that he has been denied so many things. Access to his children, access to his wife.
Let's x-ray a few things now. Kanu made some statements from his base at the time. Would you say those statements were enough to incite violence? Because what it seems like now is the violence that has been perpetrated in the southeast is being blamed on Kanu. Do you think those statements of, some statements that he made, I can't really quote them now, were enough, considering the fact that some other Nigerians have made similar statements calling for uprising? And, would we say they also...
The funny thing about the law is that 200 people may commit a similar crime. If they are not caught, it doesn't mean that that law does not exist.
But the part that some Boko Haram were de-radicalized after being caught is another conversation we're not having, Mr. Fanimo. Do you think that this isn't one selective judgment, as it were? Because this overall is practically what it's turned out to be, according to some quarters. Because some separatist group as well have voiced their displeasure about the ongoing situation of the country. So if we can de-radicalize some Boko Haram members who were caught, what is the issue with the Nnamdi Kanu situation?
You see, we had the Niger Delta guys that held this country by the jugular, and eventually they were given reprieve through amnesty.
Right.
Some of them are pilots now. Some of them are accountants. Some of them are sea welders and all that. And we also have some other groups that have been. Look at OPC. There was a time OPC was also angling for the soul of the state, and Gani Adams and the rest were caught. You see, there is a portion in the Bible, in Matthew, I think Matthew 15, maybe chapter 20, I mean verse 26 or so, that say, if your traducer arrests you, settle with him before he takes you to court, because you may land in jail.
No, that's
You understand why I'm saying this is that, honestly, if you ask me, I would have thought that this case shouldn't even proceed to conclusion, to the extent that if there is conviction, either way, if Kanu is convicted, it's not a win-win situation. If it's discharged and acquitted, it brings emotional sentiment that, okay, when you knew that this guy had no case to answer, why did you keep him all this while?
Interesting.
Right.
You understand? So it's not a win-win situation. And so for me, beyond this court trial that is almost turning into a drama, endless season film, isn't it better for us to find political solution to this, and let's get out of this and then move on? Because we can't continue to have things that would divide us more when we're supposed to be united as a nation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this case is one of these things that could divide us, because you can win a war, you may not win the battle. You can also win the battle, you may not win the war.
Interestingly, indeed.
That's my route, and it has always been my route.
And if you check it out, also some Nigerians are beginning to also say what you're saying now, given the fact that Kanu made a statement in broadcast, like some person said. But we have some Nigerians who are still in Nigeria who said they'll make governorship ungovernable for the then president of Nigeria, and they did that. We saw that coming to fruition and all that. But yet, no one is being arrested. Now, let's bring in Barrister Arachukwu join the conversation. Good morning, Barrister Arachukwu. Barrister, I would like you to unmute your device if you can hear us.
Hello. Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning. Good to have you join today's conversation.
Yeah, good morning, madam. How are you?
I'm good, and thank you for joining us. Now, we are extracting the trials of Nnamdi Kanu, and also the fact that the death certificate of Gulak was also admitted in the court as an evidence against him. Now, the question is this. Yesterday, during the trial, Agabi, who happens to be Kanu's counsel, also raised a concern in the court that he also requested a particular information from the Nigerian police, and, you know, for them also to be able to push on with their cross-examination and all that during the court's trial and the proceeding. But that particular motion was stepped down on the note that the case, according to what Awomolo, who also is a senior advocate, stated, was asked to be tried speedily. Now, are we going to see a situation whereby the speedy nature of this trial will now make the Nigerian courts not to look inwardly to, you know, admit evidences or the necessary documents that counsels are requesting for this case to be tried judiciously?
First and foremost, any court or tribunal that was its name will meticulously and religiously follow up the procedures of law, exhaust it in order to arrive at a reasonable conclusion. So even if there is to carry out speedy trials, it doesn't foreclose the court, or it doesn't prevent the court from ensuring that the procedure is exhausted. Because if you don't, we are creating a loophole for people to challenge your judgment on appeal. The judgment must be credible, and for it to be, all material evidences must be before the court.
All right, thank you.
But I wish to add, what is the relationship between Gulag's death and the trial of Nnamdi Kanu? I suppose Nnamdi has been tried for 3 years. Now, Gulag was killed by whatever the state should know was violently murdered sometime in the past.
That's exactly what we're trying to x-ray. That's exactly what we're trying to x-ray, because his death certificate has been presented in court as evidence of statements made by Nnamdi Kanu, insightful statements, as the court is, is saying that the insightful statements that he made led to the death of Muhammad Gulag at the time. And that's what we're trying to x-ray here. So you tell us what you think, because we know that at the time that this happened, the police said this was done by bandits. Could there be another information that it wasn't bandits, it wasn't unknown gunmen, it was IPOB?
The biggest challenge we face in this country at all levels is that nobody is ready to be meticulous and religious in their service to the state. People do things haphazardly and come out in public space. Now, come to think of it, somebody is killed. You are saying that somebody did Nnamdi Kanu make a statement telling bandits or telling anybody to directly go and hit Gulag?